earnings candidate Saatvik Green Energy that's declining in trade with cuts of almost 5% on the back of weak set of Q4 results coming in. In fact, we do see the EBITDA and the profit declining, and the margins have also contracted for the company. But let's get on board the management and talk to them about the roadmap ahead for the company. Prashant Mathur, CEO Saatvik Green, is now joining us. Hi, Mr. Mathur. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Firstly, the company has reported a growth in revenue and EBITDA on the full year basis. However, the Q4 EBITDA has declined year on year. What are the key drivers behind the Q4 earning performance?
Yeah, so as you can see from our results that we have delivered fantastic results for the year. So our revenue has grown by 111% year on year. EBITDA has grown by 62% and PAT has grown by 64%. However, there is a dip in the EBITDA margins. Primarily, the reason is due to very high commodity cost. As you know, the cell has very high input of silver in it. Then you have copper, aluminum frames. These were at very high levels since November, December the last year, and so that was kept on rising, like silver from around 1 lakh went up to 4.5 lakh rupees. So those kind of input costs which went up, and then on 28th Feb this Iran war started, and there was this very high dollar fluctuation, around 88-90 rupees to 94 rupees happened in no time. So all that resulted in very high input cost, and that is where you see dip in the numbers. If you see our top line has grown significantly to over 1,600 crores in Q4, but there was dip because the orders were, by the time all this war and currency fluctuation and all happened, our prices for the quarter were already fixed, and so we were not able to pass this on to the customer. But overall, the year has been really good.
Right. And what percentage of the material cost is constituted by silver?
Silver used to be about 15% of the cost, but that went up to 30-35% of the cell cost. If you see from a input of cell in module, silver accounts for almost 20% of the module cost. So used to be in less than 10% at one point of time. But it is not only silver, copper has gone up significantly, aluminium has gone up, all the commodities have really gone up. And so you have copper that also goes in the tabbing ribbon, which is there in the panel. The frame is made of aluminum frame, so all the wiring is either aluminum or copper. So there's this very high cost of input that has really resulted in the overall cost increase.
Right. Also, talk to us about your order book. Where does the current order book stand at in monetary terms, and what would be the execution timeline for that?
So the current order book is close to about 8,000 crores, and it is about 5.89 gigawatt. And the timelines is up to 18 months. So this has some of the orders which we are executing right now as well, and some are for the medium term as well. And then the longest period which we are executing is about 18 months.
Right. Also, the raw material cost as a percentage of the revenue has increased on a year-on-year basis. Do you pass through the hike in commodity prices to your customers?
So normally the long-term contracts which we are doing are done in dollar terms, and you pass on those charges to the customer. But what has happened is, you are in an extraordinary situation, a force majeure situation right now. And the our customer, they also have their contracts with the government which are fixed, or the PPAs, the power purchase agreements are fixed. So there is a limit of which they can absorb those kind of escalations. So, there are contracts which we can fully pass on and the customer can accept that. But there are situations wherein the customer may not be able to fully accept it, because then their project becomes unviable. So we come to a kind of a middle path wherein some of the absorb is done at our end and some of the absorb is done at the customer end. In terms of fixed versus variable cost, normally it's about 50-50, 60% can be passed on, and 40-50% has to be absorbed. How much absorption also depends on what kind of a customer is there. Is that a customer wherein they can really absorb if that the kind of project price which they have really got their bankability, bank funding done. Those kind of contracts you may not be able to pass on fully.
And can you also shed some light on the future order pipeline and the targeted revenue mix thereafter?
So our future pipeline, currently our order book is close to 8,000 crore, which is 5.8 gigawatt. Our cell manufacturing is around the corner. We will have our tool move in starting from July onwards, and we are expecting that the revenue should start getting in from the second half of the year. So one is that we will be booking more orders now on the DCR side as well. There are some orders which are in the pipeline. We'll be making those announcements, and some significant size of orders are under the pipeline. So we'll be closing that as well. And in terms of our revenue and EBITDA, though you have a slight bump because of the war situation, but we feel that overall this year is also going to be a growth year for us. And once we have our cell also revenues coming in, we will also have a good increase in our bottom line as well, because of higher demand for domestic manufactured cells.
Right. And the company's current order book is 123% of the installed capacity. What would be the expected timeline around commissioning of the increased capacity?
So, as we speak, we are already commissioning our Odisha plant. So it's not only cell, it is also modules. So it is first phase is 2.4 gigawatt cells and 4 gigawatt modules. So our order book also is reflecting, our increased manufacturing capacity, which is also happening. So module tool move-in will start actually from June onwards. So, so the execution timelines, as I said, for our order book is 18 months, but we will have 8.8 gigawatt of manufacturing capacity also, to which reflects. So the order book normally reflects your capacity, how much you can produce. So that's why you see that we are, building more and more order book, because we have our expansion also coming very soon.
Right. And the company has also announced the entry into the ingot wafer manufacturing with the 6 gigawatt capacity. What would be the execution timeline around this? And as a part of the backward integration plans, by when can we expect meaningful contributions from this segment?
Right. So there are a couple of more announcements which we have made. One is that initially our cell capacity was 4.8 gigawatt, which was in two phases, 2.4 and 2.4. But now because of the high demand and the government's initiative, continuing with the policies of Make in India and